Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
Welcome back. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. One of the 16-point demands made by the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEV, to guarantee rapid development and lasting peace in the Niger Delta in its November 2016 meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari was an urgent need to provide critical infrastructure in the region. The federal government's inability to address crumbling infrastructure in the Niger Delta over 4 years after PANDEV's meeting with President Buhari is giving inhabitants of the region cause for worry, as correspondent Tekena Miofori reports.
In their November 2016 meeting with President Buhari, leaders and elders of the Niger Delta demanded commencement and completion of the following projects: East-West Coastal Road, East-West Road Reconstruction and Dualization, Bodo-Boni Road, Ibom Deep Seaport, and development of inland waterways. In its 16-point demand, PANDEV also urged the federal government to remove bottlenecks militating against activation and utilization of existing seaports in the Niger Delta, located in Port Harcourt, Onne, Warri, and Calabar. PANDEV's call for resuscitation of the 4 seaports in the Niger Delta, which are among 6 largest seaports in the country, was to address a skewed policy on ports administration. As a result of the federal government's inability to revive seaports in the region, the Apapa and Tin Can ports in Lagos State have continued to handle around 80% of shipping traffic in the country. This trend has given rise to congestion at the Lagos seaports and gross underutilization of seaports in the Niger Delta.
You have a scenario whereby we're just locked up with just 2 functional ports in Apapa and Tin Can. Now, Apapa and Tin Can had outshot its existing capacity, its inbuilt capacity. Vessels call Nigeria, they spend a lot of money to be able to evacuate their goods. So sometimes it goes as far as those vessels actually call in Ghana, Tema in Ghana, to go offload in Ghana. Now, when they offload in Ghana, they now have to wait for a space for clearance from Lagos before they call Nigeria. And who bears the cost? It's the end user.
All the revenue generation is accruing to Lagos alone, apart from the federal government allocation. So what we are losing here is enormous. And when you travel to Lagos, you clear your car and you pay revenue to Lagos State, we are losing a lot economically.
The non-completion of the Bodo-Boni Road construction project, conceived over 40 years ago to connect several communities in Rivers State to the nation's economic nerve center of Bonny Island, is also giving most Niger Deltans cause for worry. Contract for the construction of this all-important road was awarded over 16 years ago by the government of President Olusegun Obasanjo, but could not be completed by successive administrations. In February 2016, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG) offered 50% payment of the 120 billion naira required to fund the project under a tripartite agreement, yet it remains uncompleted till date.
Imagine completing Bodo-Boni Road. The multiplier effect of just completing that road on the economy. And then don't forget, government stands a better chance because it increases revenue generation. So you see, not because we are not a government that are innovative about internal generated revenue. Their whole attention is on the petrodollar, the one that is easy to get. So as long as the pipes traverse the length and breadth of the place and connect Bonny and export the crude, the road is almost non-important to them.
Given the number of uncompleted federal government projects in the Niger Delta, the region's leaders have come to the conclusion that their November 2016 meeting with Mr. President is yet to produce fruitful results in their quest to have the Niger Delta transformed.
If those issues had been addressed, the narrative would have changed. But unfortunately, out of the 16 items, as we speak today, we have only 2 items, as it were, 1.5 attended to. That's the Maritime University of Korenkoko and then the Ogoni cleanup the status is not unclear. Is unclear to us now.
Over the years, administrative neglect of the Niger Delta has been evident in the federal government's dysfunctional allocation of resources to develop the entire country at the expense of the region. In spite of the negative externalities of prolonged oil exploration and production in the Niger Delta, the bulk of resources generated from oil-producing communities has been utilized to develop other parts of the country, notably the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja.
Abuja was developed with oil, not the physical cash. Initial plan was $25.6 billion, and today they have spent well over $300 billion. Abuja is still being developed. It is annoying. It is highly provocative.
Recently, we hear the president also inaugurated, the narrow, gauge, railway from here to Maiduguri, and our own they are giving us narrow, gauge. Meanwhile, Ibadan to Lagos and to Kano, they are talking about standard gauge. That's to tell you how insincere federal government has been and very unfair to the Niger Delta region.
In response to recommendations in the Willings Commission report of 1958, which designated the Niger Delta a difficult terrain in need of special attention and accelerated development, the federal government has in the last 60 years established several agencies to tackle infrastructure deficits in the region. Unfortunately, all of such agencies have failed to improve quality of life in the region on account of administrative lethargy and poor funding. Consequently, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari is enjoined to demonstrate the political will to develop the region by acceding to PANDEF's demand for commencement and completion of critical infrastructure in the region.
Infrastructure is key, to economic development. When you have adequate infrastructure, it means that cost of business will fall. I give you an example. If you have the East-West Road, properly done and the lanes are working very well, it will definitely reduce the cost of business. Basically, the delay, the long delay in completing this, infrastructure is actually retarding, economic development in the Niger Delta region.
Oil resources generated in the Niger Delta account for about 80% of government revenues and 90% of Nigeria's exports. Under the Nigerian law, the control of oil resources is the exclusive preserve of the federal government. Faced with the predicament of crumbling infrastructure, oil-producing communities have over the years clamored for the operation of fiscal federalism to enable them have a fair share of Nigeria's oil wealth and allow other regions of the country to develop at their own pace. It is for them a just demand that the federal government must consider as a matter of urgency to allow common humanity prevail in the allocation of resources generated in their domain.
Inside the Niger Delta,